Ah, welcome back, you beautiful architects of chaos. You silent storms wrapped in skin. You walking contradictions that make the world nervous just by existing. Let me ask you something, and I want you to feel this deep in your chest. Do you remember that moment? That exact crystallized moment when you extended your hand into the darkness, when you reached down into someone else's hell and pulled them out? Yeah, you do. You remember their eyes, desperate and drowning, begging for mercy from a world that had already written them off. And you didn't even hesitate, did you? Everyone else walked past, like they were invisible, like their suffering was just background noise in the simulation. But you, something in you, recognized something in them. Maybe it was the brokenness you knew too well. Maybe it was the fight you saw flickering behind their exhaustion. Maybe you just couldn't stomach watching another soul get erased. So you stopped. You reached out. You gave them your time, your energy, your resources, your belief when they had absolutely nothing left to offer in return. You saved them, when saving them made zero logical sense. And here's what's absolutely wild about this story. Here's the part that's going to make your spine tingle with recognition. You didn't save a victim. You didn't rescue some helpless soul who needed protection from the world. No. You saved a predator. You pulled a wolf from the water thinking it was a drowning dog. You extended mercy to something the universe had been trying to contain, to suppress, to keep locked away for everyone's safety. But you saw past the disguise, past the performance, straight into the raw, untamed power hiding beneath. They were broken, sure, shattered even, but not because they were weak. They were broken because the world couldn't handle what they actually were. And somehow you saw it. You saw the fire still burning in the wreckage. You saw the hurricane trying to fit inside a body too small to contain it. You saw the monster pretending to be human, and instead of running, instead of calling for backup, instead of doing what everyone else did and walking away, you did the unthinkable. You fed it. You helped it heal. You gave it strength. And now they're out there, fully awakened, fully operational. And everyone who doubted you, everyone who mocked your kindness, everyone who called you naive for believing in someone the world had already condemned, they're learning something absolutely terrifying. They're learning that loyalty forged in fire doesn't just burn, it consumes. They're learning that gratitude from a wolf isn't cute, it's lethal. They're learning that you didn't just save a person, you weaponized vengeance and called it love. And now it's hunting. Let's rewind this story to the part they don't want to talk about. Because everyone loves a rescue, everyone loves the moment of salvation, but nobody wants to discuss what happens when the rescued becomes the reckoning. You found them at their lowest point, didn't you? Crushed, defeated, abandoned by everyone who claimed to care. Maybe they'd been betrayed. Maybe they'd been destroyed by their own choices. Maybe the world just decided they were too intense, too damaged, too broken to save. Doesn't matter. What matters is everyone else had given up. But there was something about them, wasn't there? Something that called to you in a language you couldn't explain. Maybe it was the way they carried their pain. Not like a burden, but like a weapon they hadn't learned to use yet. Maybe it was the intelligence burning behind eyes that had seen too much. Maybe it was the way they spoke truth even when it cost them everything. Whatever it was, you recognized it because you'd been there. You knew what it felt like to be too much for a world that worships mediocrity. So you made a decision that confused everyone around you. You invested in someone with zero return potential. You believed in someone who had nothing to offer but potential wrapped in chaos. You defended someone when defending them made you look foolish. And oh, they talked, didn't they? Your friends, your family, the voices of so-called reason telling you to walk away. They're toxic, they're damaged, they're going to drag you down. You can't save everyone. You're wasting your time. They'll never change. You're being manipulated. The warnings came from everywhere, but here's what they didn't understand. And frankly, what they'll never understand because they've never operated at your frequency. You weren't trying to save them to prove something to the world. You weren't on some hero complex mission to fix broken people for validation. You saw something the others missed entirely. You saw potential for transformation. You saw someone who'd been pushed so far past their limits that they'd either die or evolve into something unprecedented. And you made a calculated bet that they'd choose evolution. You saw the wolf in the wreckage. And while everyone was busy telling you about red flags and warning signs, you were busy doing something far more dangerous and far more beautiful. You were showing them what loyalty actually looks like. Not the fake, performative kind that disappears the moment things get hard, but the real kind. The kind that says, I see every shattered piece of you and I'm not going anywhere. You became the first person in their entire life who didn't run when they showed their teeth. You became the first person who didn't punish them for their intensity. You became their proof that maybe, just maybe, they weren't the monster everyone said they were. Now let's talk about what happened next. Because this is where the story gets absolutely beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. You gave them space to heal, didn't you? You gave them time to rebuild without judgment, without conditions, without constant reminders of who they used to be. And something miraculous started happening. That broken person you pulled from the depths, they started changing. Not in the way society wanted them to. Not becoming smaller or quieter or more acceptable. No. They started becoming more of what they actually were underneath all that suppression. You watched them remember their power. You watched them stand up straighter. You watched the light come back into their eyes. But it wasn't gentle light. It was the kind that makes people uncomfortable. You watched them stop apologizing for taking up space. You watched them stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You watched them transform from someone begging for scraps of respect to someone who commanded it just by existing. And the whole time, the whole beautiful, terrifying time, you were there, steady, unwavering, their anchor in the storm. But here's what you didn't realize. Here's the part that's going to make you understand the magnitude of what you actually did. Every moment you believed in them when they couldn't believe in themselves. Every time you reminded them of their worth when the world was screaming the opposite. Every instance you stood beside them when standing beside them made you a target too. You were doing something permanent. You were carving your name into their soul. You were creating a loyalty so deep, so unshakable, so absolute that it would outlive kingdoms. Because people like them, people who've been broken and abandoned and left for dead, they don't forget. They can't. It's literally impossible for them to forget who was there when the world went dark. They remember every face that walked away. They remember every person who kicked them when they were down. They catalog betrayal like evidence in a case they'll never close. But more than that, infinitely more than that, they remember who stayed. They remember who reached into the fire to pull them out. They remember who saw the monster and chose love anyway. And now they're rebuilt. But they're not rebuilt into who they were before. They're rebuilt into something the world has never seen. They're sharper now, harder now, more dangerous now. They've taken every lesson from their destruction and weaponized it. They've turned their trauma into strategy, their pain into precision, their scars into armor. And at the center of their entire existence, at the core of their new identity, sits one unshakable truth. You saved them. You chose them. You believed. And that debt, that cosmic debt of loyalty, it's not just going to be repaid. It's going to be multiplied beyond recognition. So let's talk about everyone else now. Let's talk about all those people who doubted you, the ones who whispered behind your back about your terrible judgment, the ones who placed bets on your failure, the ones who couldn't wait to say, "I told you so," when your act of kindness inevitably blew up in your face, the ones who mocked you for investing in damaged goods, the ones who treated your compassion like stupidity. Yeah, them. Let's talk about what's happening to them right now. Remember how they laughed when you defended that person? Remember how they rolled their eyes when you spoke about potential and transformation? Remember how they painted you as naive, as blind, as someone who couldn't see the obvious red flags waving in the wind? They made you the punchline of their jokes. They questioned your intelligence, your judgment, your ability to read people. They treated your kindness like weakness and your loyalty like foolishness. They were so sure, so absolutely certain that you'd made a catastrophic mistake. But here's what's happening now, and you can feel it, can't you? That person you saved, that wolf you disguised as mercy, they're out there moving through the world with a very specific mission. They're not just living their life. They're not just focused on their own success. No, they're systematically, methodically, almost supernaturally identifying every single person who doubted you, every person who mocked your judgment, every person who tried to make you feel foolish for believing, and they're handling them. Not with violence, not with obvious revenge, but with something far more devastating, presence. They're showing up in spaces where your doubters exist and completely dominating. They're achieving things that make your critics look amateur. They're operating at levels that expose everyone who questioned you as small-minded and short-sighted. Every success they achieve is a direct contradiction of the narrative your doubters tried to build. Every milestone they reach is evidence that you saw something no one else could see. Every room they conquer becomes a graveyard for the people who underestimated your judgment. They're not just succeeding. They're succeeding specifically to prove you right. And the beautiful, poetic, absolutely devastating part of this whole thing is that they're doing it with your name in their mouth. They're out there telling anyone who'll listen, "You see this. You see what I've become." None of this exists without that one person who believed when belief made no sense. They're not hiding your role in their transformation. They're broadcasting it. They're making it very clear to everyone that doubting you was the mistake. They're turning your critics into case studies of poor judgment. They're weaponizing their own success as proof of your vision. But it goes deeper than just proving you right, doesn't it? Because what you're witnessing now isn't just gratitude, it's something far more primal and permanent. That person you saved has appointed themselves as your eternal guardian. They've taken on the role of protector without you ever asking for protection. They're watching, constantly, scanning every interaction you have, monitoring every space you occupy, identifying threats before they even fully form. And anyone, absolutely anyone, who even thinks about disrespecting you is about to learn a very hard lesson. You probably didn't even notice at first, did you? The way certain people suddenly got quieter around you. The way your critics mysteriously started keeping their opinions to themselves. The way people who used to challenge you constantly suddenly found other targets. You might have thought it was coincidence, might have assumed people just naturally matured or moved on. But no, what actually happened is your wolf had a quiet conversation, a look, a word, a presence that communicated very clearly. Touch them and find out what I become. Because here's what you need to understand about people who've been saved from the edge. They don't just feel grateful. They feel indebted on a cellular level. They carry your kindness like a sacred oath. They've internalized your belief in them as the foundation of their entire rebuilt identity. And anyone who threatens that foundation, anyone who disrespects the person who gave them a second chance at existence, becomes enemy number one. The intensity of their protection isn't normal. It's not casual loyalty. It's the kind of fierce devotion that borders on scary. They're out there running interference you don't even know about, defending your name in rooms you'll never enter, shutting down gossip before it reaches your ears, making your enemies regret even thinking your name. They've become your unseen army of one, patrolling the borders of your peace with the kind of vigilance that only comes from knowing what it's like to have no one in your corner. They remember what it felt like when the world turned its back, and they've made an unspoken vow that you'll never, ever know that feeling. Not while they're breathing. And the wild thing is, you didn't ask for this. You didn't save them, expecting some personal bodyguard for life. You just acted from your heart. Extended kindness, because that's who you are. Believed in someone because you saw their truth. But you accidentally created something the universe rarely witnesses. You created a bond that transcends normal human loyalty. You created a protector who would burn the world before letting it hurt you. You saved a wolf, and now it guards your throne with teeth bared and eyes that never close. Let's talk about the shift that's happening in your world right now. The atmosphere around you has changed, hasn't it? People treat you differently now. There's a new weight to your name, a new hesitation before people speak carelessly in your direction. Your presence carries authority you didn't have before, and you might be wondering where this came from. Why suddenly your words land heavier. Why your silence speaks louder. Why people who used to test you now show immediate respect. Let me explain what's actually happening. Your wolf isn't just protecting you in private. They're rebuilding your entire social architecture. Every space they move through, they're rewriting the narrative about who you are. They're positioning you as someone not to be trifled with, not because you're aggressive or threatening, but because you have the loyalty of someone powerful. They're making it known, subtly and sometimes not so subtly, that you are protected, that you are valued, that you are someone who commands respect, not through force, but through the quality of the connections you build. People are starting to understand something fundamental. They're realizing that you possess a quality most people spend their whole lives faking. You can recognize potential in raw form. You can see value in chaos. You can identify diamonds in the wreckage, while everyone else only sees trash. And that ability, that almost supernatural ability to spot transformation before it happens, marks you as someone operating on a different frequency. Your judgment isn't just good, it's prophetic. And the person you saved is walking proof of that prophecy fulfilled. Your doubters are experiencing something particularly painful right now. They're watching someone they wrote off completely thrive beyond imagination. And every time they witness this person's success, they're forced to confront their own failure of vision. They're realizing they couldn't see what you saw. They're understanding that maybe, just maybe, you operate with a level of perception they'll never access. And that realization is eating them alive. Because it means they weren't just wrong about that person. They were wrong about you, catastrophically wrong. And here's the twist that's absolutely beautiful in its cruelty. Some of those same people who doubted you, who mocked your judgment, who predicted your failure, they're now trying to get close to the person you saved. They're trying to build relationships, network, benefit from the success they said would never come. And every single time, every single attempt, your wolf remembers. They remember exactly who said what. They remember who laughed. They remember who turned their back. And those people get nothing. Access denied. Loyalty isn't for sale. And the wolf doesn't forget. You know what the universe just taught everyone through your story? It taught them that kindness isn't weakness. It's the most dangerous force in existence when wielded by someone who sees clearly. It taught them that believing in people isn't naive. It's revolutionary. It taught them that the ones everyone gives up on might be exactly the ones who change everything. And most importantly, it taught them that underestimating your judgment is a mistake they'll regret for the rest of their lives. You weren't just being nice. You were being strategic on a level they couldn't comprehend. Because here's what most people will never understand about you. Your compassion isn't blind. You don't save people randomly or out of some desperate need to be needed. You save people because you recognize something in them. Something familiar. Something powerful that's been suppressed or misunderstood. You save people who remind you of yourself, of your own transformation, of your own journey from broken to unbreakable. You see their potential because you've lived it. You believe in their evolution because you've survived it. And that person you pulled from the darkness, they get it now. They understand what you saw in them before they could see it in themselves. They understand that you weren't rescuing weakness, you were liberating strength. They understand that your kindness wasn't pity, it was recognition, peer-to-peer. Power, acknowledging power, transformation, bowing to transformation. You weren't saving them from above. You were standing beside them in the fire and saying, "You're not alone in this. I've been here. I know the way out. Take my hand." Now they're out there proving your vision to a world that bet against it. Every day they wake up is another day your judgment gets validated. Every goal they crush is another piece of evidence that you see things others miss. Every life they impact is ripple effects of your original act of faith. They're not just living for themselves anymore. These ripple effects of life they're living as a testament to you, as proof that betting on the underdog isn't foolish when you know how to read the game. They've become your evidence, and the people who doubted you, they're stuck watching this unfold with a sickness in their stomach they can't quite name. It's the nausea of realizing they were on the wrong side of history. It's the disgust of understanding they aligned themselves with mediocrity, while you allied with potential. It's the horror of recognizing that their small-minded judgment revealed more about their limitations than about the person they were judging. You showed them what vision looks like, and they can't unsee their own blindness now.
आशिक हूँ तेरा राजा बाजार का, लगता है मुझको नशा ये प्यार का। आशिक हूँ तेरा राजा बाजार का, लगता है मुझको नशा ये प्यार का। मुस्कुरा के बात करती हो, आदतें खराब करती हो। ना दिखो बेताब लगता हूँ, आशिक बेहिसाब लगता हूँ। ऐसा नशा है तेरे दीदार का, आशिक हूँ तेरा राजा बाजार का, लगता है मुझको नशा ये प्यार का। जिंदगी हसीन लगती है जब ये जालिम प्यार होता है। सांसों में सांस आती है जब तेरा दीदार होता है। नखरा है ऐसा मेरी सरकार का, आशिक हूँ तेरा राजा बाजार का, लगता है मुझको नशा ये प्यार का। नखरा इसका टॉप पर आती है टिकटॉक पर, नैनो से है नैन मिलाती, लड़कों के है दिल जलाती। पिंडी में है चर्चा इसका, मीरा जितना खर्चा इसका। मैंने बोला इसको मेट्रो में बिठाऊंगा, कैपिटल ले जाऊंगा, F7 भी घुमाऊंगा, मोनाल भी दिखाऊंगा, सेंटोरस भी ले जाऊंगा। आशिक हूँ तेरा राजा बाजार का, लगता है मुझको नशा ये प्यार का। मौसमों की बेकरारी को आजमा के जान जाओगी। हिज्र की आजमाइश में एक दिन पहचान जाओगी। कहना है मेरे दिल बेकरार का, आशिक हूँ तेरा राजा बाजार का, लगता है मुझको नशा ये प्यार का।